For this week's lesson, we're going to review tone and mood and then put it all together in a final elements of short story and fiction project. So this is from last week's Pear Deck assignment, and what we're going to do real quickly is go over the results. In this slide, we're just looking at the definition of mood or tone. So we have the feeling the reader experiences while reading, created by the author's choice of setting, images, events, and dialogue. This is actually the definition for mood because it's the feeling the reader experiences. It's something that you feel as you're reading a piece of text. With this definition, the writer's attitude toward the topic, character, and our audience, created through the author's word choice, called diction and punctuation. This is an example of tone because it's what the writer does. It's how the writer creates an attitude towards the topic, character, or audience. So here's an example of how an author would create tone. With a nasty smirk, Mary told the other girls they couldn't sit at her lunch table. So Mary's being kind of nasty. So nasty is a tone. And tone is easiest to understand when you think of it as tone of voice. So imagine a mean, nasty girl telling other kids they can't sit at her lunch table. So this is an example of tone. In this passage, we have a real detailed description of the setting. The empty classroom sat waiting for the new year to begin. Dust had settled on the tables and chairs. The air felt close and stale. With silent anticipation, the school got ready for fall. This represents mood because we're understanding that this is an empty classroom. It's kind of sad. It kind of has a forlorn, empty feel to it. So the author is creating a sense of mood by developing the setting. So in this passage from The Treasure of Lemon Brown, we're looking at words that suggest mood. The dark sky, filled with angry swirling clouds, reflected Greg Ridley's mood as he sat on the stoop of his building. A car passed, its tires hissing over the wet street and its red taillights glowing in the darkness. Greg thought he heard the noise again. His stomach tightened as he held himself still and listened intently. There weren't any more scraping noises, but he was sure he had heard something in the darkness, something breathing. So in this particular passage, words like dark, angry, swirling, hissing, stomach tightened, scraping, darkness, breathing, that creates a very suspenseful and somewhat frightening mood. So that description of this place and what Greg is going through really creates a frightening mood. In this passage, Greg and his father have a conversation about his failing math grades, and the math grades are what keeps Greg from playing basketball. So here's some of the things that his father says to help set a sense of tone. You want to play basketball? His father's brows knitted over deep brown eyes. That must be some kind of joke. Now you just get into your room and hit those books. His father's words, like the distant thunder that now echoed through the streets of Harlem, still rumbled softly in his ears. So the tone of this conversation between Greg and his dad shows that Greg's father is upset, and he does use some sarcasm, but he's very upset with his son because his son has failed math, but he still wants to play basketball. In this conversation between Greg and Lemon Brown, we get a sense of, even though Lemon Brown is down on his luck and is basically a homeless bum living in an empty, abandoned building, he has a past that he's pretty proud of. Every man got a treasure. You don't know that? You must be a fool. Don't worry none about what I got, Lemon Brown said. You know who I am? You told me your name was Orange or Lemon or something like that. Lemon Brown, the old man said, pulling back his shoulders as he did so. They used to call me Sweet Lemon Brown. So the tone of this conversation is Lemon's really proud of who he used to be, and even though he's not much now, he says, every man got a treasure. Do you know who I am? He pulled his shoulders back when he said, they used to call me Sweet Lemon Brown. So this is a sense of pride that Lemon Brown has in his past. And in this last passage, we get a sense that in the beginning, Lemon Brown was suspicious of Greg. He was ready to slice him up 9 ways to a week and assumed he was there to rob him. But then as Greg helps rescue Lemon Brown from the 3 robbers, Lemon Brown definitely changes how he felt about Greg. So here's some passages that give you a sense of the tone. You okay for a youngster. Better than those scalawags that come here looking for my treasure, that's for sure. And then he says, what else a man got excepting what he can pass on to his son or his daughter if she be his oldest? For a big-headed boy, your shoe sure do ask the foolishest questions. So in this case, Lemon Brown's being kind of thoughtful. He's changed his mind about Greg. He's realizing Greg's not so bad. So he's using a thoughtful tone when he's letting Greg know that, you're okay. So for the next part of this lesson, think about how Walter Dean Myers used dialogue to give a sense of tone, whether it's sarcasm to show that somebody's upset, or uses words like dark and angry and hissing and stomach clenching to show fear. Mood and tone really are created through the setting and through what the characters say and do. So you're going to be applying these ideas to your final project.